Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Has anyone listened to a television, newspaper, or other account of this file or case, conducted any internet research or investigation, or otherwise discussed the case during our extended weekend report? So I have all night. Good morning. Thank you for your patience. We are ready to continue with the state's case. Mr. Van Gilson, Ms. Hutchinson, will be calling this case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Student call Dr. Ian Hood.
Good morning, Dr. Hood. Good morning. I'll have you come up to the witness stand. All right, I get you sworn in. State your name.
My last name is Hood, H-O-O-D. My first name is Ian, I-A-N. I'm a forensic pathologist and a medical examiner of Burlington County.
You swear or affirm under the penalty provided by law that the testimony in this court shall be true, the whole truth.
I do. Thank you, Dr. Hood. Ms. Hutchinson, when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Dr. Williams. You already stated your current profession is medical examiner, correct?
I am.
And for Burlington County? Now, in order to become chief medical examiner, did you attend college and medical school?
I did. I went to medical school in my homeland of New Zealand in 28. I apologize for my cold. And I did my internship there. I came to Canada and did my residency in pathology there. And then I came to the United States and did my training in forensic pathology at the VisibleJustice office in Detroit, which now being one in Michigan.
So just to break that down, we'll go a little bit more. So after college and after medical school, when you then do your internship, where do you complete your internship program at?
That was at a very large public health system hospital in Auckland, in New Zealand.
Can you explain to the jury what is entailed in your internship program?
It's almost no longer required in the US, but in Commonwealth countries, you have to do 2 years of rotating internships after you've had completed medical school and got your degree. In order to get a complete, full and unrestricted license, you have to get that after 1 year. They keep you 2 years before you can start extra training in whatever field or specialty you've chosen. Many North American medicine is now somewhat more specialized, so you can start to specialize right out of medical school and go into an internship already in the specialty you've chosen. Family medicine is now one of those as well.
And what was the specialty for your internship?
It was my internship didn't have a specialty because there you have to do a rotating internship. So whether you like it or not, you get to do 3 months of adult surgery, pediatrics, internal medicine, in my case 6 months of obstetric gynecology, 3 months of ophthalmology, and 3 months of anesthesiology.
Thank you. Now, after your internship, you said you completed a residency program?
I did.
And where was that?
So that was at Hamilton, Ontario. It's about sort of midway between Niagara Falls and Toronto on the Canadian shore of Lake Ontario. And 5 years of training there, and because I had done 6 months of training in Auckland, New Zealand, before I left, I was allowed to sit my boards in the United States at the end of my 4th year, so that was a big help to me. So it was 1983, I passed my boards in anatomical and general pathology here in the US, and in the next 2 years, 84 and 5, I passed fellowships, or was that passed boards in anatomical and general pathology in Canada.
Can you just explain briefly what you mean by pathology?
Pathology in its broadest sense is simply the study of the human body when it's gone wrong. When you start medical school, you learn about normal human anatomy and physiology, and then when it's gone wrong, it's pathology. So it's a very, very broad field. It includes hematology, microbiology, chemistry, and of course anatomic pathology, which is the study of tissues under a microscope. Anytime you get any kind of tissue removed, whether it's at surgery or just something done in a clinical office, it's looked at down a microscope by a pathologist. And autopsy pathology is included in that, although autopsies are being done less and less in hospital settings, so they still are done in teaching hospital, but that's about it.
Okay, thank you. After your residency program, you continued on with your medical training?
I did, as I say, I did my fellowship training in forensic pathology in the county of Wayne in Michigan. That was a very busy medical examiner's office in Detroit. I don't think we ever did less than 800 homicides a year there, and about close to 10,000 cases a year were referred. It was a great place to learn forensic pathology.
Now, are forensic pathology and surgical pathology different?
They are.
Can you explain a little bit why?
Surgical pathology is the branch that you're most familiar with, which is where you get an organ or something is removed at surgery, then that gets looked at by a surgical pathologist. And the diagnosis is made and therapy is based on what the pathologist sees on the microscope. And it's sometimes even done on the fly in the operating room, particularly with things like breast cancer. The pathologist will do a frozen section right there and determine whether the disease is spread into lymph nodes or not, and then the therapy right then and there is based on what the finding is. That's surgical pathology. Autopsy pathology deals obviously with opening the dead body after the death to determine all the disease processes and injuries that may be present in the person.
Okay. After completing your fellowship programs in surgical and forensic pathology, did you receive any faculty appointments?
Right after I graduated, I was taken on staff at Detroit, so I was assistant medical examiner there for 3 years. And while there, I was on the adjunct staff for Wayne University of Wayne in Detroit. And then so it's just Wayne State University, I should say. And then when I came to Philadelphia, which I did 3 years after that, I was there for nearly 20 years as the acting, or as the deputy and acting chief. I was on staff at all the major teaching institutions in Philadelphia. There were 1.6 medical schools, they're now down to 4. And I was on staff, and still am, as an adjunct full professor at the University of Pennsylvania. And in theory, I am still on staff of what is now Drexel University, but I started out when it was about 3 names ago, elected originally CP9. But I have not given a didactic lecture there for time that I've been here. In theory, they can rotate the fellows through my office. They did that once, but that medical school lost the teaching hospital and got sold out from under them, so they're still struggling.
Now, are you a member of any specialty boards?
I have my in anatomic pathology here in the U.S. and also in forensic pathology. And in Canada, as I say, I had my boards in anatomic and general.
What's required to become a member of those boards?
You have to do a certain amount of required training at approved institutions where there's enough caseload and enough quality teaching staff and research facilities for you to be able to become properly familiar with your specialty. And then, of course, the big thing is at the end of it, you have to sit 3 days worth of examinations. And that's the same in Canada as it is here.
Are you currently licensed to practice medicine?
I am.
Where?
I'm licensed in all the states I either worked in or trained in, with a couple of exceptions. Chronologically, that would be New York, Michigan, California, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and I once worked a job in Texas, so I continue the process, so I have a license in Texas.
Dr. You mentioned earlier that you're the chief medical examiner in Burlington County. How long have you held that position?
Since July of 2008.
And what are just some of your job duties as the chief medical examiner?
The medical examiner works under a statute that says what cases you must take jurisdiction of. And they're basically any case, someone who has died of obviously non-natural causes, so homicide, accidents, suicides, drug deaths, come under our jurisdiction. Any case where you don't know why the person died, they're just a found body some of those can be basically portions of bodies or skeletons. They still fall under our jurisdiction. And there's a couple of other oddball ones, any ones that any trial under 3 years where the cause of death is not expected, any death related to pregnancy, any death in custody falls under our jurisdiction as well. And even natural deaths, which make up the bulk of our cases, where you just can't find family members to take charge of the body, or you can't find a doctor who knew the person to sign a death before. And that's about half of our cases.
Approximately how many autopsies have you performed as the chief medical examiner?
Here in Burlington, I've probably performed 2,000 or 3,000 over the last 12 years. Before that, I had done close to 25,000, 30,000 in Detroit and Philadelphia.
Now, you briefly went into it, but can you explain a little bit more for the jury about the purpose, obviously, for an autopsy?
The purpose of an autopsy is to determine the cause of death of the individual, and the manner of death is to be filled out on the death certificate. As in this case, the cause of death may be obvious because it's been shot multiple times, but we have to retrieve evidence from the body in that. In this case, bullets. If there's any trace evidence on the hands, that starts at the scene and continues when we do the autopsy. And we do specimens for toxicology as well. But in this case, we were dealing with a 24-year-old healthy young man, and his cause of death was manifestly obvious. Had a bunch of bullet holes in him, and the real purpose of the procedure was to determine exactly what damage they had done to him and to retrieve the bullets that were still in him.
Let's take a step back. You had spoke to the autopsies that you've done in Burlington County, but in addition to your employment here, do you hold any other employment as a medical examiner anywhere else?
I cover other counties. We all do cover each other in Burlington because most of the counties have only one or two medical examiners. So when one of them is not available, then the next little county usually fills in for them. So I cover for Ocean County from time to time, and I, until recently, was covering the lower 3 counties for state medical examiner. I have just recently stopped doing that because it's too far to go. That's Cape May, Cumberland, and Atlantic counties.
And prior to beginning your employment in Burlington County, were you employed with the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office?
I was the deputy chief there. In fact, my old deputy in Detroit had become chief of Philadelphia. I had moved out to California, and he asked me if I'd come back and be deputy in Philadelphia. And I was perfectly happy to do that. And unfortunately, he came down with Parkinson's disease, so for the last several years, he couldn't function very well. In fact, he had retired, and I was the acting chief for the last 3 or 4 years that I was there.
Overall, how long were you there?
19 years.
Prior to Philadelphia, were you employed anywhere else?
I spent about 18 months in California doing forensic pathology and hospital pathology. I was part of a group of 14 pathologists. One of their founding members was actually the technical consultant for the old Quincy series, if you were old enough to remember that. And there was, unfortunately, he got my phone and died, so I was taken on to replace him. And I did both hospital pathology because they looked after, at some point, about 9 hospitals. One of the reasons why I was glad to leave there, I was driving between Ventura County, Los Angeles County, and Orange County, going to various hospitals. For those of you who tried driving around LA, will recognize that's a strain.
Prior to that, you had mentioned working in Detroit as well.
Yes.
And how long were you there, and what were your duties there?
I was a fellow there for 1 year, and then I was assistant medical examiner for 3.
Approximately how many autopsies would you say you performed while you were in Wayne County and Detroit?
Probably, again, I was only there for 4 years, but it would, again, be 2,000 or 3,000 autopsies at least.
Now, Doctor, over your 30-plus years that you've been employed as a medical examiner overall, could you approximate or estimate the overall number of autopsies that you performed?
I've probably performed myself personally in excess of 30,000 autopsies. At one point when I was in Philadelphia, I was covering Camden and all 3 surrounding counties as well. And I was doing way more autopsies than you're supposed to do, probably around 1,500 a year. It's not supposed to be really more, about 400. So I've done a large number of autopsies because of that. And I was also in Philadelphia and in Wayne County before that. training program for other fellows. So they would do autopsies that I would supervise, and often I would have to go and testify to the instead because they get moved on by the time the case came to trial. So that would be at least double that number of autopsies that I was intimately involved in and often had to testify.
Now, out of all those performed, have any involved gunshot wounds?
Very many, especially when I was in Detroit and Philadelphia, we were doing several hundred homicides a year. 8% of them were by gunfire.
During your career as a medical examiner, have you been called to testify as an expert witness previously?
Yes,
Approximately how many occasions?
thousands, and every homicide case we want to always lead to both a preliminary hearing sometimes and then the actual trial. So 2 or 3 times a week I would testify when I was in both Detroit and in Philadelphia.
Any other courts besides Detroit and Philadelphia?
I've testified in obviously all of the courts here in Burlington County, but I also testified in surrounding county, Burlington County, Kansas County, University. And in Pennsylvania, I testified in all counties in southeastern Pennsylvania.
And in what field of expertise?
Almost always forensic pathology, occasionally toxicology.
You're not at the time to state with Dr. Hood as expert in the field of forensic pathology.
Mr. Riley, you want to hear this time?
I have also no objection. Good morning, Doctor.
Very good. Thank you. The court accepts Dr. Hood as an expert in the field of forensic pathology based on his education, training, and experience, and give an expert opinion in that area.
Thank you. Now, Doctor, in your capacity as the Chief Medical Examiner in Burlington County, did you perform an autopsy on the body of Shaquille Williams?
I did.
And where was that autopsy performed at?
That was performed at the medical examiner's office here in Burlington County, part of the county complex. We see the big antenna sticking up from on Kirkwood Road. And that was done on March 22nd. The young man to be pronounced dead late in the evening on March 21st. But my office went out to the scene and removed the body from the scene.
Now, can you just briefly describe some of the basics of an autopsy procedure, just more than what you had done already?
Basically, we start with whatever we find out that is known about the case. Here, the young man had been identified, and we had ID on him, and Terrence was actually on scene, so we knew who he was. I knew that he'd been seated in a car and had been shot by probably more than one individual. There was certainly more than one individual involved. But who was doing the shooting wasn't known, whether it was 2 shooters, 3 shooters, or 1 shooter with more than 1 gun. That had been determined at that point. And he had been shot while seated in the car, and his body was in fact found. Having been seated in the driver's seat, slumped over into the passenger side, and he had multiple wounds that had obviously come through the partly open driver's side window or to the left side of his body. And that's all I knew when I got him. The body was processed as much as possible at the scene, put into a body bag, pulled from there, transported from there down to the medical examiner's office the next morning. Came the autopsy, which you can now see on television. We basically examine the body just as received, and carefully take any evidence we can see off of it, including the clothing. And in fact, there were 2 bullets found in the left sleeve of the deceased's jacket that were removed at the scene before we removed the body bag and brought. And then, having examined the body, clothed, unclothed, cleaned it up, got all the trace evidence if there is any off of it. We then perform an autopsy, as I say, you can see that on television now. We do a Y-shaped incision of thorax and abdomen, and ear incision and removal of the skull cap to get the brain. And that was done in this case, and the bullet paths were determined, and the bullets had stayed in the body they were retrieved.
So you start with what's called an external examination, is that right?
Correct. We have to identify the wounds on the body, try and determine which ones are entrances, which ones are exits. Usually not that difficult to do.
And in this case, you did observe signs of injury to Shaquille Williams?
Yes, he was a shaver, so previously healthy 24-year-old young man. He was about 5'11", 180 pounds, and he's clad in a jacket, t-shirt, jeans. Some of that was completely cut off of his. And he clearly had sustained multiple gunshot wounds. We started from the top to the bottom. There was one in the cheek, and that was close range. It was the only one that was. It had some stippling around it, about 2 centimeters stippling. The gun was probably only a few inches away when that one was caused. And then he had 4 that spread down the left upper arm, 1 that went right in the outside of the left elbow, another 4 that went down the dorsal surface of the left forearm. They were all going from left to right. 2 of them went through his left upper arm, re into his chest. 2 of them went through his left forearm, re into his flank. They were all going left to right, upwards and backwards. And part of the difference in the pathways could be accounted for by the fact that as he was shot, he started to slump over, so the bullets are coming in at a different angle as he falls away from the guns that were being fired at him.
Do you document those injuries in a report?
I did.
And in addition to a report, are they injuries also, are the observations photographed?
They are. A lot of photographs taken as you do the whole process, both at the scene and once the bed was opened. All these photographs, because the DSCN is unclothed and clean, and then all the wounds are documented. Ultimately, the bullets are taken out, photographed and documented as well.
After, you stated after conducting your external examination of those injuries at the location, you then examine the injuries further?
Yes, having documented where they are on the outside of the body, we now open the body and trace the parts of bullets on the entrances to the exits or on the entrances to where they came to the rest of the body.
Okay, now breaking down the injuries that you observed that you stated, you indicated that you observed the injuries specifically to his left cheek area, is that correct?
Yes, just starting from the top and working down. I had no idea what order they were inflicted in, but that's usually what we do, is just convenience. We start at the top and work our way down. So the highest one was the one in his cheek. And we right in the side of the cheek, it had about a 2-inch zone of gunpowder stippling around it. And that bullet went through his maxillary sinus, which is basically the big lump of bone that's immediately under the arm. It went through the back of his mouth, now down below the jaw into the neck. It went through his right carotid artery and actually lodged just under the skin over here, over the sternocleidomastoid muscle, which is the muscle that gives you the chicken neck when you pull your chin up. And that could easily be seen even at the scene. It was just bobbling around under the skin. So that bullet we actually one of the first to retrieve in case it fell out and we didn't find it again. So we did get that bullet out. And it was the first of the bullets retrieved that was, it's a relatively distinctive bullet. It's not uncommon. It's a hollow point with a blue plastic ball stuck in the end of it to make it aerodynamic to travel better through the air. And that once it enters the body, that ball is pushed back and helps the bullet to expand and stay in the target. And that was a fairly distinctive bullet that was retrieved first from under the skin of the neck. That had caused a lot of bleeding, both out to the exterior, and of course it made a connection between the carotid artery and the back of his throat. So a lot of blood went from there back into the back of his mouth and then got swallowed and aspirated into his lungs.
Now, Doctor, you had stated a moment ago the 2-inch zone of stippling. Can you just briefly explain what that is and what that means in this case?
When a bullet is fired out of a gun, it happens because a primer that was struck by the firing pin and caused gunpowder immediately behind the bullet to burn, create explosively a lot of very hot expanding gas that pushes the bullet down the barrel. That gunpowder divided up into tiny little either balls, granules, discs, look at them under the hand and say different shapes. And they don't always burn completely on the way down. Smokeless gunpowder is supposed to be just that. Smokeless burn completely, but it doesn't quite. As a result, some of those particles of gunpowder, either unburned or partly burned, continue out of the end of the barrel behind the bullet. But they're very light and they fall away or drift away in the air quite quickly. So by the time you get out to around 2 feet with most standard ammunition, there's not enough gunpowder still moving to be able to actually impinge on the target. The closer you get, the more of that gunpowder still there will be, and the closer it will be towards the center of the in this case, it was about a 2-inch zone, round zone, and gunpowder stippling. And that usually would mean that the handgun is only a few inches away. By the time it gets out to 2 feet, there'll be only a few particles and they'll be much more widely distributed.
So was it your opinion that that was very close?
Very close, I mean a couple of inches. It's not contact, there's no contact between the end of the barrel of the gun and the cheek. So it would probably be anywhere from 2 to 6 inches.
Now, during the course of the examination, you had talked about being able to track that projectile.
Yes.
What was the track again?
It went, consider him standing up, like a soldier at attention before that down upon position. It would be described as going from left to right, downward and backward, and then ended up down here. So that's the path.
Now, does the track itself indicate anything potential about the position of the shooter?
Well, you have to know the position of shooter and victim in their frame of reference, which I don't always know. Here, we were a little more fortunate. We did know that he's seated in a car, and the bullet striking his left arm are entirely consistent with that. So the shooter is likely standing and therefore shooting someone down at him that would match this particular bullet.
Now, you had stated previously about the injuries that had been caused, specifically allocating the carotid artery. Would that shot in and of itself have been fatal in this case?
To most lay people, it probably would be, because you have to think very fast and literally stick their thumb on the hole and close down the carotid artery. If somebody knew a bit about first aid, was on scene and did that, then he could have survived that wound. He's a young man, he doesn't need that carotid artery to supply enough blood to his brain. He's got 3 others, the left carotid and 2 vertebrals that will do a good enough job of that. So he won't suffer any ill effects by having lost the blood flow from the right carotid artery. But of course he'll bleed out from it very quickly if somebody doesn't put their thumb on the hole and stop it.
Doctor, I'm going to show you regarding evidence as S14 in this case. It's going to appear on the screen. Can you, Doctor, I think you have a pointer up there too, right? Are you able to come down and join me here and just kind of, as I put the pictures up, point to the area of the stippling and what you noticed?
He's still very bloody, and you can see he's lying on pavement there. He's actually about to be taken, this is the body bag right here, the blue plastic, and he's about to be placed in that. This is after he's been removed from the car, so it's still bloody. You can see that they pronounced him by the heat pad, and quite common here is and here's the hole where it went in right there. So it's basically gone down to here.
I'm going to show you what's in evidence as S8. Can you again speak to this specific gunshot wound that we're speaking about at the moment in the cheek, and again, anything that you noticed when looking at the victim himself?
Here's our somewhat irregular entrance wound there, and the little gunpowder stipples distributed around it. So it's about a 2-inch zone. And that's the hole in his left cheek, and you already saw the bullet sticking out from under the skin down here, so you can figure out from that the path that it took. And as I say, it went through his right carotid artery, so it's going to be a fairly rapidly fatal injury. Somebody like to step in and put their thumb on the hole. And what this also shows is the fact that being shot predominantly from the left side with his hand up probably on the wheel, or at least lying on the side of the you can see the number of bullets scattering on the left side of his arm. There's one here, there's 2 that are about the same distance with the top of his shoulder here, and then there's one down here, and then he also has one on the lateral aspect of the left elbow, and then 4 more down the dorsal left forearm, 2 of which are very close together. You'll see that possibly being demonstrated.
I'm going to show you what's in evidence as S91. You stated that the bullet ended up, and you pointed out in the other picture, in his neck.
Yes.
And can you just, for this picture, can you point out again where that was?
There it is here, and it's made a tiny little abrasion on the skin, where it's actually pushed the skin out against the hoodie he was wearing. Here's the entrance wound again.
Now, do they depict all of these pictures? Do they depict the injuries as you saw them to be on Shaquille Williams that day?
Yes.
Now, were you able to ultimately, the bullet was removed from his neck, is that right?
This bullet was removed from his neck because it was so prominent, and the two proved to be that distinctive hollow point bullet with a little bullet ball, blue plastic ball on the end, which is a well-known ammunition and quite a distinctive type.
I'm going to show you what's in evidence as 107. Specifically, is that what you're speaking of in this piece?
It's come apart, but that is what it is. Here's the two pieces of blue plastic. Here's the jacket, and here's the cord.
And after that's removed, is it then turned over to the prosecutor's office?
It is.
Now, doctor, you had, let me take your seat for a moment. Thank you. You had also indicated that there was, so the 4 gunshot wounds to the left upper arm of Mr. Williams, is that right?
Correct.
Can you describe the nature of those injuries?
Well, you saw the pictures of them. There's no close range associated with any of those, and he's wearing clothing over that as well. So if they were, it would be on the sleeve of the clothing. The uppermost one went through the proximal left upper arm. It smashed his bone, the humerus, and came to rest just under the inner aspect of the skin of the upper arm.
I'm going to put back on screen what's in evidence as I stating that, just to go with that. Again, the 4 that we're speaking to at this moment, could you point them out here?
Okay, here we go. Proximal one. This is the one that smashed his upper arm bone and actually came to rest under the skin just below the armpit here. These two parallel one another. They actually parallel one another right through his arm, right through his chest, and actually followed very similar paths and came out somewhere over here in the right armpit area. And then slightly lower down one is this one, which went down across the front of his left elbow. And there was another one on the back of the elbow that did the same thing. And they actually made 2 sort of 1/2 to 3/4 inch exit wounds that tore into one another. So we ended up with a big wound about 1 1/4 inches across, from which 2 bullets had exited. And they may have been one of the 2 bullets that was found in his sleeve when we got the body out of the car at the scene.
Now, doctor, the 4 that we're looking at right there, are they all entrance wounds or are they exit wounds?
Those are all entrance wounds. They're nice and round and surface as opposed to big and ragged. With easy to put back together, which is what exit wounds are.
I'm going to show you, again, what's in evidence is S91. Now, the bullet wound there on the top of his arm that we're looking at, is that an entrance wound or is that an exit wound?
That's actually a hole made by me. I could feel that bullet, so I just simply, that's my scalpel wound that I made to go down to the bullet to show it nestled in the, just here basically. It's nestled in the skin and muscle after it had fractured the humerus. It came to rest there, and I got that bullet out.
Now, were you able to ultimately track the path of the 4 bullets from the upper arm as well?
I was.
And what was that?
The 2 bullets that were the same distance below the top of the shoulder, to the middle of the left upper arm, they came out on the inner aspect and re-entered the chest, sort of slightly to the back, but basically in the left side of the chest, down towards the bottom of the rib cage. And the other one, as I say, that went in lower down, came across the front of the elbow, likely missing any arteries in there, and it coincided with one that was in the back, outside aspect of the elbow itself. And the 2 of them followed a similar path. The exits were probably a 1/2 inch apart, and because of that, they tore together and made one big exit wound. In fact, 2 of the 4 that went through his left forearm did the same thing lower down here on the inner aspect of the left forearm. They came out close together and tore a hole the joint.
What's been marked for identification as S139. Can you just speak to that picture?
This is a picture of the left side of the chest and left flank of Shaquille Williams, and it shows one of the bullet wounds that went through his left upper arm and into the left side of his chest, and 2 more re-entrance wounds that went through his forearm and came in down here in the left flank. And just above them are some irregular abrasions that were probably made by bullets that had gone through his upper arm or forearm, hit his body, but not with enough strength left to be able to enter it, so it abraded the skin and fell off, and were probably recovered from either his sleeve or the canal.
Doctor, is this an accurate of how he appeared that day?
It is.
Your Honor, the state would ask to move in S-139 and publish it.
Objection.
Doctor, the wounds that we spoke about in the upper arm, again, can you point to where they would have exited and the re-entrance wounds that you just spoke about?
Well, this is really taken to show the re-entrance wounds on this left side. Not really an exit wound, that's where I actually ended up cutting and taking out that bullet. You can see now how badly fractured his left humerus is. You're not supposed to have a joint there in the proximal upper arm. And what we're showing here is an irregular, broadly abraded re-entrance wound of a bullet that had come out of the arm and gone back in there. On the forearm, two bullets that exited the forearm, re-entered his flank over here. And then here are the little irregular abrasions that are probably made by bullets that exited the forearm that no longer had enough velocity to be able to re-enter his body. They just simply struck it and abraded it and were recovered from either the car or his clothing.
Now, again, speaking to, you spoke a minute about the bullet that you removed from his upper arm, showing what's been marked as, or as an evidence. Is that an accurate depiction of the bullet that you were able to remove? There from his upper arm?
Yes, it's actually sticking out from the an attempt at exit point to his upper arm. That's why it was easy to retrieve.
And you had stated you had to cut that one out, is that right?
I did. To finish the job, I had to cut it out.
I'm going to show you what's in evidence is S92 on the screen. Again, speaking to that bullet wound in the upper left arm, is that one of the bullets that you had to cut out?
It is.
And again, what, specifically to that bullet, if you can say, what injuries did that bullet to the upper arm cause?
Well, it shattered the proximal humerus, long bone of the upper arm. It also shattered itself in the process, as you can see. It's basically badly torn up. I did not find a little blue plastic wad, but the bullet is so distorted that I can't say that it wasn't. It's somewhere in here. Unfortunately, not ready to opaque, so you can't find it in this way. All I can say is it's medium-sized, it's base jacket. It was a hollow point or not, I can't tell.
Now moving on to the, you had spoken a moment ago about the left elbow, gunshot wound to the left elbow. I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification as S141. Can you just tell me what you're looking at in that?
This is showing both an entrance wound in the lateral left elbow, and these are 4 gunshot wounds that went in the left forearm, 2 of which were basically kissing wounds. They were within a half an inch of each other, and they followed an identical path through the arm and back into and through the body.
Is this an accurate depiction of how it appeared that day when you did the autopsy?
It is.
Your Honor, let's move S141 into evidence.
Rise, no objection, being published.
And that's the photo that we were just speaking of right there.
Correct.
And you had talked about the 2 bullet wounds that almost joined together. Can you just point out for the jury what you're
It's out
speaking of?
here. We sometimes refer to those as kissing wounds because they perfectly muzzle up against each other. Here's the one in the that's further up, and here's the one that's further down. But again, we have 4 bullet holes going in his left forearm. And one of those did actually fracture this one, the ulnar bone. In fact, 2 of them did. It fractured it both up here and further down.
Again, still speaking to the victim's left arm, I'm not going to show you 119 and S115 for identification. Are they pictures that are accurately represent, again, during the autopsy that you performed?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would ask them 119 and 115. These evidence?
No objection.
Again, again, speaking to the upper arm and the elbow specifically, can you speak a little bit about the re-entrance wounds that we can see on the chest in this photo?
There's only one, and that's the one down, it's two. This one and that one. Kind of bloody, unfortunately. These are more ragged and irregular than the wounds are larger, because the board's now distorted and gone through the arm. And it makes them more rough.
I'm sorry, doctor, I just didn't hear that very
They're larger than the real entrance wounds, and they have a more roughly abraded edge. And the bullet that made them was distorted by having gone through the upper arm first.
Now, following the track again, you were able to find some corresponding exit wounds, is that right?
There were corresponding exit wounds on the inner aspect of the left upper arm that matched these re-entrance wounds that you see down there.
Now I'm showing you S115. Looking at this to the top of the photo specifically, are those some of the wounds that you were just speaking about?
These are exit wounds in the area of the elbow, and then it's actually a bigger one up here that we just get the edge of. Two more, and then these are actually two wounds that came out together. Remember those two kissing wounds? They actually followed a very similar path, half an inch apart, and came out through this big wound. And as you can see, the little blue plastic ball on one of the bullet points got left behind. That's not uncommon, because that's what it's designed to do, is to come out, expand the bullet, and then pop out.
And can you just again explain the nature of the damage that was caused by the projectile?
Once it went through his forearm, one of them fractured the ulnar bones, bone on the outside, little finger side of the forearm, towards the elbow, and again it fractured it about halfway down. So two bullets fractured the left ulnar, and they made these combined double exit wound and then two more exit wounds from the other two that went through more proximally.
We were talking a moment about the dorsal left forearm now, but just to kind of go over that again and move back down. S141 is on the screen now. Again, the 4 gunshot wounds specifically to the lower portion of the arm.
Yes, there's one, there's the two close together, and then another one further down, about midway down his forearm.
And were they covered in the damage that you just explained to the jury what the bullets had caused? Are they contained within what you just explained?
Yes, I just described all 4 of them went across the forearm. 2 of them fractured the ulnar bone in the process. They came out of basically 3 exit wounds, which one was a large ragged one that we just saw. There was 2 combined. And those 2 that came out of that large ragged wound actually re-entered again, only an inch apart, over his left flank. We've already seen that picture. And by then he was slumping over, so the bullet appears to go through his body quite sharply upwards, because they were recovered from the area of the right second rib in front, just under his collarbone and the back of the right shoulder. So they look like they're going more upward than you would expect. That's because his body is slumped over and is almost at right angles to the shooter shooting down at him now.
Within your report, you also mentioned gunshot wound to the left hand. Is that right?
That was the last of the wounds going from the top down his left arm. We had one in his left hand. Unfortunately, I screwed that up in my report and kept referring to it as the right. But it is the left hand, and it goes in the base of the left thumb, comes out the meaty part of the thenar eminence that forms the thumb side of the palm of the hand. Then it re-entered the palm, and it finally went through the joint where your middle finger joins the hand, and it came out the top of the base of the left middle finger.
I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification as S116. Is that specifically the injury to the hand that you were just speaking about?
That is, we're actually looking at the exit and the re-entry on his palm now.
And it's an accurate depiction?
It is.
State what S116 published.
No, okay.
Okay. Can you just point out for the jury, Dr. Hood, again, you were just saying it shows both the entrance and the exit. Can you specifically point to what you're speaking about?
This is the re-entrance. It's come out of there, grazed and gone back in here, and then actually, you can see that the ring finger is actually fractured. It's gone right through that knuckle joint there.
And so you were able to track the bullet path in this case as well?
Yes.
to show you what's been marked as S70 for identification. Is that a better picture of the entrance wound?
That's both the entry wound here, and here you can see the exit wound, and that it has in fact fractured the base of the first finger. The middle finger, I should make that clear. It's the middle, not ring, middle finger.
I'm not showing you S87 that's in evidence again. Now, this obviously, was this picture taken before the clothes and the jacket had been taken off of the victim?
You're correct, and you can actually also see a little fragment of that fractured ulnar bone is stuck in his sleeve, and a couple of bullets were stuck in that sleeve too, which is not surprising given how many bullets that were going through that garment and the arm within it.
Now, showing on the screen what's in evidence is S88. You had spoken about the finger itself in the track again.
Yes.
And so the bullet came out of basically his finger, is that right?
The dorsal base of the left middle finger closer to the middle finger side than the front side.
Now, in your report, you also spoke about the victim's back in this case. Did you observe an injury to his back?
Yes, and that's just again starting at the top, going down to the bottom. The last one described is one that goes in the left back. Actually went in basically a couple of inches below the bottom of his left shoulder blade. And that followed a path that would be expected if that's probably the last bullet in the sequence, when he's now lying down basically over towards the passenger side, because that bullet ended up coming out of the front of where the shoulder joins his chest.
Okay, so I'm showing you what's in evidence as S69. In this case, is that the bullet wound to the back that you were just speaking of?
Yes, there it is, and this is again, as you can see, he's lying on pavement. We're just getting a very rough assessment of what injuries he has right there after he's been removed from the car. There's a cone that's often used to mark fired cartridge cases, all spent rounds, so that presumably there is one under that. And here is the bullet hole, as I said, it's just outside and below the bottom of his left shoulder blade, and that ended up being found out here on the front of the junction of his right shoulder with his chest.
I'm going to show you what's in evidence as S93 as well. Was that photograph that was taken actually during the course of the autopsy?
It is. He's been a bit more cleaned up now, so you can see the entrance wound, and it's got a scale next to it to give you an idea of the size.
Now, what about that injury? Obviously, enabled you to conclude that it was in fact a gunshot wound.
Well, I got a bullet out of the end of it, so that's always a very strong indicator.
And you said you were able to follow the track of that bullet?
Yes, again, if you were to consider him standing upright in the anatomical position, which he almost certainly was not in when he was shot, it would be described as going upward, forward, and rightward. And as I say, it ended up somewhere around just in front of the second rib on the right at the very top of his chest, over towards where it becomes his shoulder. So I got this pectoralis muscle. It was where that bullet ended up, just in front of the right second rib, and that was a very different. It was same kind of bullet as we got from some of those other wounds, which was the hollow point with the blue plastic wad in it. Some of the other bullets that were taken out from around here that came from the entrances of his upper arm and from his shoulder flank were not. They were different. They were base jacketed, but they weren't hollow points.
Now, you had stated that there was internal damage. Can you state specifically what the internal damage or structures that were affected by this specific bullet wound were?
The one that went in his back went through his left lung, his aorta, so again, that's a rapidly fatal wound. It's even worse than having one go through the right carotid artery. It went through his esophagus and the right lung, and that's when it came out. It went through the right second rib and stopped in his right pectoralis muscle. So both lungs, the esophagus and the aorta were all struck by this bullet. So that too would be a rapidly fatal wound.
And you said you did locate this projectile in this case?
I did, and again, it was one of the more typical ones with a hollow point and a blue plastic wad or ball in the end of the hollow point.
Okay. Now, let's go back to the from the arm through the body now. In your report, Doctor, did you mention that there were in fact re-entrance wounds from the left upper arm?
Yes, and we've seen those in several of the images we've already looked at, where the arm was out of the way. You could see that two of them re-entered in his chest, and they came through the upper arm. And those are two that were close together, or at least a couple of inches apart, but they were at the same distance below the level of his shoulder. They came out the inner aspect of his left upper arm, re-entered his left chest, and went in somewhere towards the lower aspect of the left side of his chest, more towards the back than the front.
Now, once they
We've got both
re-entered,
of them here, I see in that picture.
once they re-entered his chest, what if any damage or structures did they affect?
Again, they followed similar paths, left to right, upward and backward, and they variously went through everything they needed to kill him, unfortunately. One of them went through the main pulmonary artery, they both went through the left rib cage, the left lung, the right lung, and came out of the area of the armpit. One of them actually came right out of the inside aspect of the armpit and went back in the outer aspect of it on the arm side and stopped right there under the skin. And another one went further back and went a little higher. It actually never actually made a re-entrance or an exit in the entrance. It stayed on top of the armpit and was pulled out of the armpit towards the back. And both of those bullets were non-hollow points. They were reasonably large, medium-sized, fully encapsulated bullets, meaning that there's not just a jacket around the base and the nose left exposed. The whole thing was covered as a non-hollow point bullet. So those are two very different bullets, and the blue plastic water guns are the hollow points.
Now, speaking to that, you had said that one of those bullets actually came out. You were able to find it in the right armpit.
Right.
On the screen, that's 96. That's what you're speaking of.
This is the one that just went across the very apex of his armpit. So it came out here, went in here. You can actually see the base of it sticking out of the hole because it almost didn't make it. So,
I'm going to show you on the screen as an evidence of S101. That's just a closer view of that specific injury.
yes, the bullet's been pulled out, and you can see now that it's a very different bullet than the other ones. It's fully encapsulated with a jacket that wraps all the way around. They can put it on in two pieces, and all at once. It's got a round. There's another one that looked like that was short. So there were three different types of rounds that I could identify. The statistician may very well identify even more.
Now, after those bullets were recovered, they were turned over to the prosecutor's office as well?
They were.
Moving on to the other two re-entrance wounds or entrance wounds in the, I believe, flank area, is that right?
Correct. These are ones that came through his left forearm. And they were the two kissing wounds. Almost certainly were responsible for those two adjacent re-entrance wounds in his left flank. As we saw before, there they are. You see one of them is a bit more irregular than the other, more irregularly graded. And that just happens to be because that particular bullet was probably more distorted as it went through the left forearm and therefore made a bigger hole when it re-entered. Here's one of the re-entrances from the upper arm. And here are the little abrasions made almost certainly by bullets that made it through the left forearm but could not then have enough, didn't have enough power left to go through the body. These are probably bullets that did not strike or that did strike the left ulnar bone and fractured it, so they lost most of their energy there. Whereas these two missed the bones of the forearm, so they still had enough energy left to penetrate quite a long way into his body.
Speaking to those two specifically, as noted in your report, can you speak to what track they followed and what, if any, structures or organs that were damaged because of them?
Again, by the time he's struck by those, he's probably already well on his way down to or already lying on the passenger side. And so the bullets appear to go quite sharply upward. And the same path with all the others, upward, left to right and backward, up through the left upper abdominal structures. You've got the stomach, the left lobe, the liver, were both struck by those. Then they pierced the diaphragm, they went through a little piece of the left lung. right through his heart, both of them, through the top of the right lung, and then into the area of the right shoulder. And from there, I got I showed you a fully encapsulated bullet, but it was relatively long. There was another bullet just like that, but shorter. And that came out of the area of the right second ribcage in here, in front of the right shoulder. And that was, one of them was that short bullet, the base jacket, a hollow point with no plastic wad. And then the other one came out of the back of the right shoulder. And that was a heavily nose jacketed, medium-sized bullet with an exposed lead base. So it's nose jacketed, it's not base jacketed. So again, it's a different looking round. So this gentleman's been struck by 3 or 4 different types of rounds. The ballistician can better testify as to whether they were the same caliber, fired from the same weapon or not.
Now, looking just to the bottom 2 wounds that we're talking about this moment, based on the structures that you need, that they damaged, would they in and of itself have been fatal?
Because both of them went through the heart, yes.
And you spoke to a moment ago where one of those bullets came to rest in the right shoulder area, is that right?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's in evidence as S97. Is that what you were speaking of a moment ago?
Yes, kind of hard to orient. He's lying on his left side. This is his right shoulder and his right upper arm. And I had to put that cut in there to expose the bullet that I'm showing you there, which is again a jacket bullet. And I'm trying to review whether that one was the bullet point or not. I'm pretty sure it was. That's the one that doesn't have a hollow point, but it has an exposed lead base. That's where they actually make the jacket first and then pour the lead into it. So the base is exposed. So it's not a fully encapsulated kind. This is yet again a different kind of ammunition. But it could still be the same caliber and fired from the same weapon, but it's a different kind of ammunition.
Again, speaking to the damage that bullet specifically, you stated both of them had hit the heart, so that bullet did hit.
That's one of the 2 that went through his heart. His heart, and basically his heart was pretty much shredded by a bullet.
And again, once these bullets were recovered, were they ultimately turned over to the prosecutor's office?
They were.
Now, Dr. Evenham, thank you. Based on your training experience in forensic pathology and your examination of Shaquille Williams in this case, were you able to reach any conclusions regarding the cause of death of Mr. Williams?
As I said, other than the tremendous amount of damage done by all the bullets, he appears to have previously been a healthy 94-year-old male with no other underlying conditions, and his cause of death was manifestly due only to multiple gunshot wounds, which is what I gave as his cause of death on his report and his death certificate.
Now, do you hold those conclusions to a reasonable degree of medical certainty?
I do.
And were you able to ultimately come to any conclusions with regard to the manner of the victim's death in this case?
Well, the manner of death is a box that I have to fill in whether I like it or not on the death certificate. I get a choice of natural suicide, accident, homicide, or unable to be determined, and sometimes you use that for skeleton remains, for instance. In this case, I made him a homicide because he clearly had been killed as a result of the actions of other people.
And do you ultimately hold that as well to a reasonable degree of medical certainty?
I do.
Thank you, Your Honor. Further questions?
Mr. Riley?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Doctor. How are you?
Good morning.
A couple quick questions, please. When you did the examination of this young man, did you see any prior injuries, any wounding or prior shooting artifact when you examined him?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
He had some scars, typical of a 24-year-old. Nothing that specifically I could say was caused by a prior stab wound or bullet wound, but they don't leave very specific scars either. So the best I can say is I did not on X-ray find any extra bullets, old bullets in him, but I did see some extra scars. In fact, you saw some of them just looking at them coincidentally in pictures of them.
Now, you would agree with me on, I would think, that there's quite a number of tattoos on upper body. Do you see those?
Yes, indeed.
Now, have you been trained to evaluate the significance of tattoos?
Judge, I'm going to object again outside the scope and relevance.
Well, let me have a brief sidebar for that. Apply for this line of testimony. Any other questions for the witness, Mr. Riley? No, sir. Ms. Hutchinson, is there any other direct examination for Dr. Hood? Dr. Hood, I appreciate your time and your testimony. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our morning break at this time. We're going to take about 15 or 20 minutes or so. Obviously, you're not discussing any part of the testimony. Mr. Bowie, if you can get position to move the television. And we'll call for you as soon as we are ready. And do not discuss the testimony in perform. Your office will be the direct evaluation of the court. Thank you. Dr. Hood, thank you. The parties to examine Dr. Hood as to his knowledge of the qualifications to testify as to the tattoos. So with that background, Mr. Riley, I will allow you to get questions of the witness with respect to that, and allow the state to cross-examine.
Thank you. Doctor, you may recall before the break, I began to ask you a series of questions about on this young man, there's quite a number of tattoos. I guess you would agree with that, right?
Yes.
Okay. My question to you was going to be directed to your knowledge as to the significance of tattoos. Have you ever received any training in that, any informal education? Have you studied yourself some of these issues? Is it a topic that, I know there's multiple questions in there, but is that a topic that comes up in your professional life in terms of observing these tattoos and making decisions about them?
There are certainly forensic pathologists and forensic scientists who specialize in the significance, especially related to gangs of tattoos. When I was in Philadelphia for 20 years, there were a few separate gangs that went by street and corner numbers, and I was familiar with a few of them. But I am not I would not pass myself off as an expert at all in the meaning of tattoos in terms of gang affiliation, especially in New Jersey. I didn't see anything on this gentleman that struck me as possibly one. He did have the area code 609 with the outline of New Jersey, and in place of the O. I don't know that that's a gang affiliation tattoo. I've seen it many, many times. I think it's just a tattoo that people who live in New Jersey tend to get. Other than that, there was nothing that struck me as specific to the Bloods, the Crips, the ones I'm a little familiar with. But could he have had tattoos that did indicate various affiliations? The answer is yes, but I would not know.
Okay. With regard to the tattoo over his left chest, did you notice that with a crown?
Yes, and there is a Latin Kings gang that you see that tattoo with this. As they say in the trade, so many wannabes now get that tattoo that don't actually belong, and you can't attach much significance.
Well, I'm sure that's true, but the significance of that crown on his left chest, is that in your experience now, I know that you're not a self-proclaimed expert, but you certainly had opportunities to review these types of issues over the years. With regard to that crown, do you see any significance with regard to that?
The only significance is just what I said. There is a gang called the Latin Kings that will often have a crown or a crown on top of another symbol figure to them. That actually not hit me right away as being none of the other tattoos were typical of the Latin Kings, but I certainly could not exclude it.
Okay. Now, with regard to that particular tattoo, you can't exclude that as a tattoo, a gang tattoo, manifesting the Latin kings.
Correct.
Thank you.
Ms. Hutchinson, do you have any questions in this line of questioning?
Yes. So Mr. Riley just said you can't exclude it, but you can't include it either.
Correct.
Okay. And were his parents' names also, or were their names tattooed also within the crowns?
There were names, and there was another typical tattoo of an RIP and a winged halo name.
And have you ever been qualified as an expert with anything to do with gang tattoos?
I have not. There are, as I say, people who have real expertise in that field, and not just the tattoos, but the graffiti as well.
Thank you, Judge.
Doctor, I'll excuse you at this time. Thank you. I'm going to have you just wait in one of the ante rooms out there, and we'll go from there. Okay, Mr. Riley, any additional arguments with respect to the qualifications of this particular witness that testifies to the case?
No, sir, thank you.
Stated.
Just under Rule 2, I mean, it qualifies basically what the basis of knowledge is for an expert to testify, and they have to have specific knowledge, specific skill, experience, training, and/or education to be able to testify. And aside from seeing them occasionally during autopsies, especially in New Jersey, the doctor testified that he has none.
So the application or the objection, the proffer was that the defendant wanted to question Dr. Hood as to his knowledge of the tattoos on the decedent's body, and the proffer was that they may be gang related or gang affiliated. And that's certainly something that the defendant wanted to get into if the state was wanting to bring it up with this particular witness. The state has objected on a number of grounds. We've had one hearing. The court is going to sustain its objection to this line of questioning. I do not find that Dr. Hood, number one, has the education, experience, or training to testify as to the significance of the tattoos on the decedent's body. He candidly indicated that there's an area of pathology or specialists in the field who do testify as to gangs and tattoos and the significance of the tattoos, but he is not one of those specialized pathologists in that area. He indicated he's not an expert in that area. For New Jersey gang affiliation, he did testify that he was in Pennsylvania, that there were certain tattoos associated with certain gangs, but that he is not an expert in that area for the state of New Jersey. He's not been qualified as an expert in that area. There was some testimony about the crown on the left side of the defendant's body being associated with the Latin kings, but again, this witness was not able to confirm or deny that information as it relates to this decedent. So there would be no basis for the court to allow Dr. Hood to testify as an expert in this area or otherwise. So I will sustain the objection. All right. So with that, we'll take another 5 minutes or so before we get ready for the next witness, who will be
Sergeant Christopher Clayton from the state police.
all right. And you can excuse Dr. Hood for the day. We'll take another 5 minutes and we'll bring the jury out and we'll keep going.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you all.